The fighting in Ukraine continues to intensify by the day, and for civilians in key Ukrainian cities, the situation is just getting more dire. Mariupol officials report 12 days of Russian shelling has driven the death toll to around 1,600. A hospital was bombed a few days ago. The city has been without power for a week, and they say Russia is preventing citizens from leaving and humanitarian convoys from getting in. And that is the state of many cities in Ukraine, holding on as best they can against Russian attacks. But that loss of life is being felt right here at home as well. Tommy Lopez spoke to a man who is mourning a family member, his childhood home, and his family's way of life.
Yeah, Tessa, we're talking about Dr. Aleksey Kozlov, runs a dentist office in the East Mountains in Cedar Crest, and he showed us these images. They are not from network news. He says his family took these. This is what is left of his childhood home in Ukraine after it appears that Russia attacked his home with a rocket. He says this is the path of that rocket has just obliterated that house, and he says that attack also killed his uncle.
Dr. Aleksey Kozlov is devastated.
When I've learned about my home country, Ukraine, being attacked, it's just a gut-wrenching experience.
He says Friday of last week, a Russian attack injured many and killed his uncle, who is a deacon in the city of Zaporozhye and was helping others survive the conflict.
Our world just stopped at the magnitude and the reality that one day Ukraine can have this kind of a conflict. It's like a bad dream.
He says the atrocities in his home country likely are not over.
Of course, because what's intentionally the Russian army, it seems like they're targeting civilians.
Dr. Kozlov came to America in the 90s, and he's been in New Mexico for about 4 years.
When the patient comes in and they need a crown, this is the only...
He says just speaking in front of cameras could put his life in danger. He believes it's very possible that Russian-backed operatives could kill people like him for speaking out, even in America. And dangerous situations, unfortunately, are something that he says he's seen before, growing up just an hour away from Chernobyl, where he says that power plant disaster in the 80s later killed his father.
We are blessed to be in East Mountains community.
Now he's urging people worldwide to show even more support for Ukraine, pushing governments to impose more sanctions on Russia and donate if they can. His village, for example, hasn't had water in 2 weeks.
We're praying for them, and we were learning that they're much stronger than we thought. They're very resilient.
We have a link where you can donate to local churches who are sending money over. That's in this story on our website, KOB.com. Dr. Kozlov was a missionary in Russia about 15 years ago. He says that means he was potentially helping the very kids who would later grow up to carry out those deadly attacks on his family. Tessa.
Wow, that's heavy just to think about that. And Tommy, we know Dr. Kozlov is hearing, the firsthand accounts of the damage and the heartbreak in Ukraine, but he's also hearing about the misinformation in Russia.
That's right. He says a lot of Russian civilians are reaching out to him saying they believe their country isn't killing anyone. He says spreading worldwide awareness right now is really important.
Yeah, more than ever. Tommy, thanks for sharing his story. It was exactly 2 years ago.